Yo, what's going on, YouTube family? Back with another one. It's your boy CreateWithD'Anthony. Like I say, this video right here, we're gonna be honoring Casper Holstein. You know, I was online trying to find multiple photos and pictures of him, but he like an unsung hero. He's a gangster, by the way, but I don't like him just because he was a gangster. He's an unsung hero as well. I mean, he played a big role in the Harlem Renaissance. Big role in the Harlem Renaissance. And lately I've been doing Black August or honoring Black August, so I decided to, do a painting of him, just bring more awareness. Cause I mean, that brother here was a powerful figure. I mean, the mob couldn't even take him down, so yup, they tried to they did kidnap him, but my man, he wasn't bluffing. He was pretty much like myself. I mean, he wasn't going for nothing. They kidnapped him. He still stood on business. Everybody respecting him. The whole town. I mean, much respect to him. I really admire what he stood up for. Believe it or not, a lot of gangsters, drug dealers, people of that nature, just criminals, period. They the ones what was back in the Harlem Renaissance. Funded it that way all people could get farther, whether you was an entertainer, an athlete, an actor. I mean, in the legal profession, they was pretty much the one who was funding the movement. I think he probably even helped Marcus Garvey out, so. But yeah, y'all stay tuned, stick with me, and I'm gonna draw this thing out first, and then I may paint, but I know I'm gonna sketch this out first, so. Yep, y'all stick with.
Amazon Prime Video expanded their original content production dramatically. Their demand for licensed music skyrocketed. Period accurate music supervisors placing hip hop in the
First thing first. Hold our circle here for our face.
Video game studios licensing hip hop classics for sports and lifestyle titles. Every one of those placements generates a sync fee that goes to the master rights holder. For 7 years, that was sync. When you stack all of that together, 7 years of growing streaming revenue, 7 years of expanding sync opportunities, 7 years of foreign market growth as streaming penetrated global markets, the catalog sync acquired for $10 million in 2017 was almost certainly worth dramatically more by 2024. And when T.I. showed up to buy it back at the price the contract mandated, sync looked at what they had built on that catalog and decided the contract wasn't worth honoring. So let's talk about what this lawsuit actually demands, because it's not a simple money grab. The legal strategy here is more sophisticated than that, and it reveals exactly what T.I.'s priorities are. T.I. and Grand Hustle filed through attorney Robert Jacobs of Manat, Phelps & Phillips, a firm with deep entertainment industry credentials and a track record of handling exactly these kinds of high-stakes music rights disputes. The filing was first reported by Billboard.
Hope everybody having a wonderful Saturday, by the way. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Saturday. Like I say, I had to honor my man. I've been know about him. By the way, he is Bumpy Johnson, the gangster, legendary gangster out of Harlem. Are y'all familiar with the Godfather of Harlem TV show? This was one of the only men he looked up to and admired and respected. He pretty much was like the big homie of Bumpy Johnson, if y'all get my riff. So, I mean, Bumpy had great respect for Malcolm and people like that, but Bumpy had a lot of respect for Casper Holstein, a lot of respect for him. And by the way, my stepmom's mom's, we share the same birthday. She knew Bumpy Johnson personally, so. And I remember speaking with her, she kind of mentioned him as well. That's how I kind of knew of him, but I never really heard too much of him until later on when I got older. I heard more of him, but like I say, he don't get talked about nearly as much, but there was more like the guy who Bumpy looks up to, more like his idol or big homie or whatever you want to call it.
There is no comparable catalog. Those specific recordings of those specific performances are singular, and that singularity is precisely what makes them eligible for a specific performance.
Yeah, we is honoring Black August, so gotta put all our great heroes, sheroes, you know, just great black unsung heroes, just great blacks throughout this month. I'm just trying to honor all the greats, man. I'm just trying to honor. So if y'all feel somebody that need, you know, mentioning, or especially within this month of August, I know we only probably got a week left, but I really been in my Black August bag lately. So
Now let's zoom out and put this in the context of the larger war that's been playing out between artists and the entities controlling their music. Because T.I.'s lawsuit doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of a decade-long record. For most of recorded music history, artists signed their master recording rights away as a standard condition of getting a record deal. The structure made a certain kind of sense in the pre-streaming era. Labels invested significant capital in recording, manufacturing, distribution, and marketing. Owning the masters was how they recouped that investment. Artists got advances, effectively loans against future royalties, and in exchange the label owned the recordings. That was the deal. Most artists signed it, most artists didn't fully understand the long-term implications, and the labels built multi-billion-dollar businesses on the back of catalog rights that artists had surrendered. The conversation started shifting publicly in 2019 when Taylor Swift went to war with Scooter Braun over her original masters from Big Machine Records. What made that situation so galvanizing was that Swift hadn't sold her masters. She simply hadn't been given the opportunity to.
by the way, I'm just using the basic, you know,
Braun's company bought Big Machine,
black,
and her
you know,
masters came with the deal.
black colored pencil, or black sketching pencil. So
Launching a campaign to discourage streaming of her original.
look at that. It is Black August though. So
Back catalog was unprecedented, and it dragged master ownership into mainstream cultural conversation in a way nothing ever had before. But Swift's situation was almost quaint compared to the catalog acquisition arms race that followed. With interest rates near zero in 2020 and 2021, institutional capital flooded into music rights. The Hypnosis Songs Fund raised hundreds of millions on the London Stock Exchange specifically to acquire song catalogs. Primary Wave became a multi-billion-dollar catalog portfolio. Concord, Round Hill Music, Reservoir Media. The list of well-capitalized catalog buyers exploded. Bob Dylan sold his publishing catalog and later his master recordings for a combined amount reportedly approaching $500 million. Bruce Springsteen sold his combined publishing and masters for a reported $500 to $600 million. Paul Simon, Neil Young, Stevie Nicks, veteran artists across every genre found buyers willing to pay extraordinary multiples for proven catalog assets. What this created, entirely predictably, was a situation where artists who had sold or assigned their catalogs at lower valuations in 2016, 2017, or 2018 were watching those same catalogs get valued at 10 or 20 times what they received. And artists who had negotiated buyback clauses found themselves at exactly the inflection point T.I. is navigating now. They had the contractual right to reclaim their music. The question was whether the companies holding those rights would honor the price mechanisms they had agreed to. T.I.'s case is the most public, most clearly documented version of that question being put to a court. And the answer the court delivers will ripple through every catalog deal with a buyback provision currently in existence. If Sync prevails, if they can successfully argue that their inflated price calculation was legitimate, or if they can exhaust T.Y.'s legal resources until he settles on unfavorable terms, it tells every catalog holding company in the industry that buyback clauses are negotiable after the fact. That you can wait out an artist, inflate the price beyond what they can afford, and hold on to the asset regardless of what the contract says. That outcome would effectively render buyback provisions meaningless as protective instruments for artists. If T.I. wins, if the court orders specific performance at contract price, it sends an equally clear message in the opposite direction. Contracts mean what they say. Buyback formulas are binding, and companies that draft their own pricing mechanisms cannot disregard them when the math becomes inconvenient. That outcome would fundamentally strengthen the position of any artist who negotiated a buyback right in a catalog transaction. There is something deeply specific about why this particular case resonates the way it does, and it comes back to who T.I. is and what he represents in the context of the artist ownership conversation. T.I. has spent his entire career operating with an awareness of business. T.I. has spent his entire career operating with an awareness of business that most of his contemporaries either lacked or weren't willing to demonstrate publicly. He built Grand Hustle from scratch in his early 20s. He talked about ownership, about building generational wealth, about the difference between being an artist and being a businessman. Long before those conversations became fashionable in hip-hop, he mentored younger artists on the business side of the industry. He was, by any fair measure, one of the most business-sophisticated artists of his generation. And when he entered the 2017 catalog sale, he didn't do it naively. He had lawyers. He negotiated protections. He secured the buyback clause. He structured the deal in a way that preserved a path back to ownership. He did, in the language of financial advisors and business consultants, everything right, which is precisely what makes this case so important beyond T.I. himself. If an artist of his sophistication, with his resources, with his legal representation, with his explicit contractual protection, if that artist can still allegedly be stonewalled, have his formula rewritten, and face a $52 million demand for music worth $3 million under the terms he agreed to, then what chance does an artist without those resources have? The answer is none. And that's the alarm this case is sounding for the entire artist community. T.I. has also been a consistent voice on the specific issue of how black artists have historically been separated from the economic value of their creative output through unfair contracts, predatory advances, exploitative royalties. The history of black music in America is substantially a history of economic extraction. From the blues era, through early rock and roll, through soul and funk, through hip-hop, black artists created the culture and white-owned corporate entities captured the economic value. That pattern has never been fully broken. It's evolved in sophistication, but the fundamental...
Okay, we done with the drawing side, or the sketching side. Let's go ahead and start painting, you know. Rough draft. Let's go ahead, let's go with some black or some North.
That story sits squarely within the tradition of systemic economic injustice in the music.
And this painting will be for sale. I decided I'd go ahead and do it just to bring some, you know, shed some light on the guy.
Not out of financial necessity in any acute sense, but because those 7 albums are his life's work. Paper Trail was made while he was preparing to go to prison. King was made at the peak of his powers. Trap music was made when he was trying to figure out how to turn his experience and his talent into something lasting. These records aren't inventory, they're autobiography. And the idea that a company can buy those records, generate revenue from them for 7 years, and then price them out of the buyback right they contractually guaranteed, that is something worth fighting in federal courts. Not just for T.I., for everyone who comes after. So where does this go? What are the realistic outcomes and what do they mean? Settlement is statistically the most likely resolution. The overwhelming majority of civil business
With another brush.
estimates range from 85 to 95% of cases. Settlement gives both sides control over the outcome, avoids the expense and uncertainty of trial, and allows for confidentiality provisions that keep the final terms private. A settlement here might land at a price somewhere between $3 and $52 million.
I know I don't really draw on here much, so I decided to do a little something different today. Just decided to do something a little different here today.
The problem with settlement from T.Y.'s perspective is that it means the formula doesn't get judicially enforced. Sync never faces a court ruling that their conduct was wrongful. And the precedent-setting opportunity, the chance to establish that buyback provisions are legally binding and will be specifically enforced, goes unrealized. Confidential settlement protects T.I. in this specific instance, but does nothing for the next artist in the same situation. If it goes to trial, the central factual dispute will be straightforward. Did the contract exclude streaming and foreign revenue from the buyback calculation? And did Sync include those sources anyway? The contract language will either clearly support T.I.'s reading or it won't. Sync's price calculation and the attached disclaimer will be central exhibits. Expert witnesses on music industry accounting and catalog valuation will almost certainly testify on both sides. And the disclaimer, Sync's own written hedge on their own math, will be a focal point of T.Y.'s bad faith argument. Sync will argue almost certainly that the formula was ambiguous, that net profits could reasonably be interpreted to include streaming, that the exclusions were narrower than T.I. claims, or that there was a good faith dispute about accounting methodology. Courts sometimes find for defendants in contract disputes when the contract language is genuinely ambiguous and there's evidence that both parties had different understandings of the terms. But here's the problem with that argument for sync. They drafted the contract under a long-standing legal principle called contra pro ferente. When a contract's terms are ambiguous, that ambiguity is interpreted against the party that drafted the document. Sync wrote it. If it's ambiguous, that ambiguity gets resolved in TI's favor. That's a serious legal obstacle for Sync's defense. Regardless of how this specific case resolves, its impact on the industry is already being felt. Catalog acquisition companies are reviewing their existing buyback provisions right now. Music rights attorneys are advising clients on the strength of their repurchase options. Artists with buyback clauses are paying attention to the timeline and documentation requirements of their own agreements. And for any artist watching this story unfold, the lesson is clear. Document everything. Exercise your options in writing, on time, with proper legal notice. Get legal counsel the moment the other party fails to respond appropriately. Because the tactics Sync allegedly employed, the silence, the inflated price, the disclaimed calculation, only work against people who don't push back with equal force. I pushed back. He hired serious lawyers. He filed in federal court. He made this public. That's the move. Let's come back to where we started. $52 million. That number tells you everything. It tells you what 7 years of streaming revenue from a legendary hip-hop catalog is worth to the company holding the rights. It tells you how dramatic...
Still using my fine tip. Still using my fine tip brush.
Was the present to a world where streaming is the overwhelming totality of how music generates money. It tells you what Sync built on the foundation of those 7 albums while T.I. waited to exercise his contractual right. And it tells you exactly how far a company will go to hold on to an asset they signed away the future rights to. T.I. didn't get finessed in 2017. He was sophisticated. He got the clause. He protected himself. The alleged finesse came later, in the silence after the buyback was exercised, in the formula that was rewritten in violation of the contract that created it, in the $52 million demand that bore no relationship to the agreed-upon math, in the legal disclaimer attached to their own corrupted calculation. That's the finesse, not the original deal, the betrayal of the original deal. And the real lesson of this story extends far beyond TY and Sync music. It's about what happens when the asset a company holds becomes worth more than the price the artist was promised they could buy it back for. Some companies honor the contract and accept the lower number because a deal is a deal and integrity has value. Other companies look at the gap between what they agreed to and what they could potentially extract, and they decide to see what happens if they just don't honor it. The music industry has too many companies in the second category. It has too many artists who sign buyback provisions believing those provisions will be respected, only to find out that a signature is only as good as the willingness of the other party to honor it. T.I. is not willing to accept that. He is in federal court. He has serious lawyers. He has a clear contract. He has a documented record of exercising his option on schedule and receiving a price that violated the formula by a factor of nearly 20. His case is strong. His argument is simple. And the precedent that a favorable ruling would set would be worth more to the artist community than almost any other outcome currently working its way through a courtroom. This is a moment. Whether it becomes a turning point depends on what happens next, in the courtroom, at the negotiating table, and in how the industry responds to the fact that an artist who did everything right is still having to fight this hard to get back what his contract promised him. I'll be following every development, every filing, every ruling, every settlement whisper that becomes public. You'll hear it here, because this case matters. Not just for T.I., for everyone. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Drop in the comments. Do you think T.I. wins this? Do you think Sync settles before it gets to trial? And do you think this changes how artists are going to negotiate catalog deals going forward? The conversation in the comments on this one is going to be real. Come add to it. If you got value out of this video, hit the like button. It costs you nothing, and it helps this channel get this kind of content in front of more people who care about the business behind the music. Subscribe.
Okay, YouTube family, so far so good. So y'all can see, man, I pretty much got them down pat. I think I'm just gonna leave this one in the black and white. Y'all make sure y'all like, comment, share, subscribe. Cause I mean, it is a smaller canvas panel. So yep, y'all like, comment, share, subscribe. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.